Well, welcome to Brap Life. Thank you for joining me, and I'm super excited for this topic today. Today I have Chris, and he is here to talk about the Meadow Valley Hard Enduro, which you guys have seen on my page. If you've been on any of the social media, you've probably heard me talk about it a little bit. And he's here to talk about his story and kind of how this all came to be. So, Chris, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm Chris, and I guess we'll call myself the trail boss of the Meadow Valley Hard Enduro Trails and upcoming race in 2026.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, basically, I'm just going to hit some kind of bullet point
Hmm.
items about Meadow Valley Hard Enduro and what it is.
Yeah.
So it's at Meadow Valley Motocross. It's a pretty well established riding uh, venue in the area. It's about depending on where you're at in the Minnesota metro area, St. Paul, Minneapolis, it's anywhere from 1 to 2 hours away from there. It's kind of in the southeastern part of the state of Minnesota and Millville, Minnesota. Some of you are probably have heard about Spring Creek Motocross, where the Pro Nationals are. It's right down the road from there. Um, and yeah, that location had a very popular moto track, and as well as maybe about 20 to 25 miles of two track and single track trails out in the woods on the property.
Hmm.
And we have added about, and we'll get more into what these sections are later, but there's about 12 amateur hard enduro sections out there and about 15 pro A level hard enduro sections out there. They are all marked accordingly, and we have all of them mapped out on Onyx as well. So if you
Hmm.
are have Onyx on your phone and you're going around, you can see where you're at on the trail system basically. So
That's pretty cool because a lot of the times, at least out here, you go places and there's no trails that are marked on Onyx. So you have to switch between multiple different things sometimes. I mean, to be fair, our trails are all BLM out here. So it's like sometimes they're on Gaia, sometimes they're on Onyx, sometimes they're on all trails, and it's like you got to jump between everything. Um, but yeah, so that's really cool to know that it's on there. It takes a lot of work to get that done. So thank you for that. That's really cool. So let's start with how you got into riding. And then we'll kind of slowly move on through the timeline to get to how this all got started.
sure, yeah. I guess I got an old Honda XL 250 when I was about maybe 12 or something like that. I grew up in northern
Hmm.
Wisconsin. Rode some single track, but it was almost more like fire lane dual sport riding. Um,
Hmm.
then kind of got out of dirt riding for a while. I'd say like after I was done with high school. Um, and then I moved to Minnesota when I was about 28. And right after I did, my uncle Jim, old motocrosser, invited me to the Tileman or Thielman, however you want to say it, trail ride
Hmm.
in southeastern Minnesota. And yeah, he put me on an old bike of his, and I loved it, and
Yeah.
kind of kept riding a little more every year from there. Probably like 2000, maybe like 19 or something like that. I started really gravitating towards harder trails and
Mhm.
stuff, and kind of started fully diving into hard enduro probably in 2020.
Okay.
Um, yeah, kind of started off just with like training and riding hard enduro. Then it turned into, doing some races, and it turned into more races. And uh, yeah, then Graham Jarvis was actually doing a training at Meadow Valley,
Mhm.
and we showed him some of the areas that we were riding, kind of like free riding hard enduro there. And he was he was pretty pumped up, especially after the last area of the day. He just kept going up and down this creek bed ravine type thing, and
Mhm.
was like, "Yeah, you should have a race here." Like, well, if Graham Jarvis says it, so then yeah, some talks started with the property owner, and we
Mhm.
started putting in trails in the fall of 2023, and kind of opened them up to the public for like training, riding purposes. In I think it was about Memorial Day of this year, 2025.
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, I think it's funny that Graham has had so much influence in the hard enduro world across the world because of what he does. I mean, he goes everywhere, but his clinics don't just teach people how to ride. It brings a sense of camaraderie, in my opinion. Every single clinic that I went to of his, there's always people who stayed friends. I've met some of my best friends at those clinics. And for him to influence something like this in Minnesota, like Minnesota is not what you think when you think hard enduro. You think it's super flat, and a lot of it is. A lot of it is very flat. A lot of it is actually kind of sandy up in like the Huntersville area.
Mhm.
Um, but I rode a lot in Akeley. There's a lot of like little rocks, but nothing that I would have considered hard enduro. I think Tileman is probably the closest that you would have got. When I rode Tileman the last time was, I think, 23. Um, I want to say it was probably like 2 or 3 weeks after that Jarvis clinic that he did in Akeley, which was like the week after the one in Meadow Valley. And I remember I was on my TTR. Oh, no, I wasn't on the TTR. I was on my friend's Honda. I had borrowed her Honda 250 because the TTR, the clutch went out because I burned it up in the Jarvis training clinic. Imagine that. I had rarely used my clutch prior to that, and then I burned it up. Because I learned how to use it. But yeah, so I went and I followed all these people, and they didn't realize I was still behind them. They thought I broke off and went back to camp. So they went up. Do you know what Patty's is?
Oh
Is
yeah.
that like really rocky hill? I went up that and I made it up to the top of that. And I was so proud of myself because like everybody always talks about how hard Patty's is. And I made it in one go. And I was like, heck yeah, like I can do this, like just off of one clinic. Heck yeah. And then I made it to the backside where you hit that single track and it goes down the hill on the backside. And it's like a couple step downs. Well, the bike that I was on was lowered and it got stuck. And so I was like teeter tottering because I couldn't go forward and I couldn't go backwards. And I was
Yeah.
like, what do I do now?
Yeah, you're on scenic trail there. Then there's kind of like an overlook over the bluff, and then you start dropping down some of the bigger rocks there. I know where you're at.
I just remember a skull and crossbones. And then I was like, should I be? And then I was like, oh my God. And I was like so scared. It was the scariest thing I had done at that point. And then I had to like get off my bike, which was like a huge drop for me, right? Because like I didn't fall onto the route that I was stuck on. I fell down. So it was like a good 3 feet that I fell down. Then I had to pull the bike and pull it off of the step and then walk it down the next 2 steps to get back to like regular trail. But for me, that was really hard. And I was like, okay, that was kind of fun. And I was like, maybe I do really want to do this hard enduro thing. And yeah, and then it just kept going from there for me. So, but Jarvis has played a huge role in so many people's lives. And it's just so funny. Like, I keep meeting all these people and they talk about him. And I get to tell him about all of this. And he just thinks it's the coolest thing.
Yeah, no, I think he's inspired probably more people than anybody else. Because what I noticed with hard enduro, we're seeing a lot of kids get into it now, which is
Yes.
awesome to see. But
Yeah.
one of the biggest age groups that you see getting into hard enduro actually are people like in their 30s and 40s.
Hmm.
Maybe they don't they're going as fast as they want to go, maybe on like
Hmm.
enduros and hair scrambles, and they'd rather start turning up the technicality and turning down the speed, I think, is kind
Yeah.
of what happens at that age. But when you see a guy that's 50
Hmm.
that's doing still incredibly well at a world level, I think it gives people
Yeah.
a lot of like confidence, like, hey, I can do this, I can get way better at this.
Yeah.
um so I think there's that aspect to it too.
And to that point as well, one of the things that I had a conversation with Graham was that I was like, "I'm too old to be doing this." And he goes, "I was 33 the first time I won."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, that really shifted my perspective on it because you always think about, Manny Lettenbichler, he what was it? He was the first or the youngest person to finish Erzberg at 16. He was 16 doing Erzberg. Like,
Hmm.
what were you doing when you were 16? Not Erzberg. And we have amazing, amazing talent. Do not get me wrong. There's amazing talent in hard enduro, but Manny Lettenbichler is just on a completely different level.
Yeah.
But he's known it since he's been young because his dad was in hard enduro as it got started with Graham. And, so those are like the godfathers essentially of hard enduro. And then now you have the new kid who's what, 26 now. He's been doing it for 10 years and he's just win after win after win. It's so crazy. But yeah, like the talent is absolutely insane. And these young kids are getting into it and they're just thriving in this. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Some of the kids in hard enduro right now are between like 14 and 17 and just killing it, just
Yeah.
putting so much work into it. And I think it's so admirable that kids these days are actually going out there and trying and training and trying to just do this crazy technical insane stuff.
Yeah, it is really encouraging to see like the youth that's coming up and just
Mhm.
I think the growth in America in general. I mean,
Yeah.
if you rewind 5 years from where we
Mhm.
are right here, and there, I mean,
Yeah.
there was a literal mile between the Europeans and us.
Yeah.
They're both
Yeah.
in the events, the riders, but that they're definitely still ahead in the a lot of still the premier talent is there, but we've caught up tremendously in the last five
Yeah.
years. That's not that long of a period of time, really.
Yeah.
So
No, it has been phenomenal to watch it and to just see how it goes. I found hard enduro in 2014 was the first time I watched it. I watched Erzberg
yeah,
and to see where it's come from there. So I watched Manny Lettenbichler cross that finish line the first time. And so like meeting him years later was just like, "Oh my god, this is so cool." When I met his dad, that's what I told him. I was like, "I remember watching this on TV." And he's like, "You're an old fan." And I was like, "That's kind of rude." But yeah, it's really is like just amazing how talented everybody is. And I mean, it's not like they started out with no talent. I mean, Graham was winning trials and, on his bike and everything. Like he's done really well, but they just keep pushing and pushing and pushing and the ceiling just gets higher and higher, the things that these guys are capable of on these bikes. But like back to your point, people like me who are just getting into it, I mean, we see that you could still do it when you're older, So I think it's really cool. People talk about Cody Webb is so old. Cody's my age. So yeah, they're like, he should retire. No, he shouldn't. I'm just getting started. Don't say that. But um yeah, I think it's cool. Cody, I mean, Cody's still out there. He's still, competing at a high level. He's still going and traveling the world and competing across the world. He's doing great. And it just speaks more to like what you said, that 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds, we can all still do it.
yeah, especially at the kind of place he's at now with Yamaha and everything. I think because he's offering a lot of really cool content and stuff for that.
Yeah.
And ability wise, I mean, he's still our best technical rider.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and that's really like Graham has proven in hard enduro. Yes, you have to be in phenomenal shape, but it's really your mindset and how smart you are about things that plays
Mhm.
the biggest dividends. Especially in a long race.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm gonna jump over to a tangent here. Um, talking about being smart. So I think that women do really well in hard enduro. We don't have the same muscle that guys do. So a lot of guys muscle their way through things, but women are really good at solving challenges really quickly. And so I have seen women come into hard enduro and just figure out how to get through things the most efficient way for them. Maybe they don't have all the technical ability yet, but they're going to do it in the best and safest way for them. And I think that that's really cool because if you see the top women pros versus the top men pros, the amount of send it is a little bit different. But what they are sending, the women are sending it and they're not like they still have that whole like I can die thing. Like men don't have that typically. So like there's a self-preservation that women have, but I mean they're still sending it and they're still very talented and we're really lucky to have some top talent like Louise Forsley and Rachel Gudish and lots of other women around that, you know, are just pushing the envelope for women and what women can do because yes, women are different than men. Um but you know they're still pushing the envelope on what women have been able to do in hard enduro, and it'll be really interesting to see where that goes in the next few years because there are some young women who are coming out, and I'm looking at you Lexi in Wisconsin, that are coming up in hard enduro and who are kicking butt and who plan to beat the boys. So and it is very possible that they will. So,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I mean, yeah, Luis is, I've always really enjoyed watching her. She's super smooth, love her riding style. And
yeah.
Rachel's year in 2025 should be,
Yes.
I don't know if enough people know about what she's accomplished this year in all the different championships. I mean, international 6 days, you know, enduro
Yeah.
GP, national enduro in the US, you know, now enduro cross.
And
I
hard
know
enduro.
hard enduro. She the
Mhm.
corduroy up in Canada.
Yeah.
She has literally won like everything this year and
Mhm.
considerably different riding disciplines too. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if I can think of anybody since maybe like David Knight that's won across that wide a range of racing, you know, in
Yeah.
a single year. It's pretty
Yeah, if
crazy.
I think that you're absolutely right. Like she has such diverse talent. She is so good on the bike. She is one with that bike and she proves it. And it was absolutely phenomenal. I got to walk with her last year on the track at TKO and I was like fangirling a little bit, but she was kind of letting me into her um like her way of looking at the track and like the way that she picks apart the track and like really like she memorizes it on a track walk. Like she literally will go and she walks part of the track and then she's like, you know, I was new to her. So she's like, can you just give me a second? She's like, I just need to like memorize that. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I watch her. She just like closes her eyes and she's like, okay, I'm going to take a left here. I'm going to take a right here. I want to go up by the tree. And she's just like going back through it in her mind and it just like sets it for her. So as she's flying through it later, it's like already a memory that she just has to go and like
Hmm.
it is absolutely incredible. And so to see her, I mean, she did phenomenal last year, don't get me wrong, but to see her and know her on a personal level now and like get to watch that happen, I was like, it was probably the closest I'll ever get to having like my kid grow up, you know, like watch her. She's young. Um, but she is absolutely phenomenal. And like, if I am a third of the rider that she is one day, I will count myself as a super good rider.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah, for sure.
she's amazing. Um, but yeah, anyway, so back to the point. Women are very great at hard enduro. That was the point that I was trying to make, and then I told you it was going to end up being a tangent.
Yeah. Well,
um,
it's a mindset thing too. I think
it is.
a lot of the guys who, you know, if they try hard enduro and they get out of it right away, there's two things. Either it's just not for them, which
Mhm.
I don't blame anybody for not. I mean, it's probably a thing that doesn't make sense to a lot of people.
Mhm.
But I think a lot of people just get frustrated too quickly. I think, you know,
Yes.
guys might be a little more prone to blowing their tops right away. And if
Yeah.
you do that, it's over.
Yeah.
You gotta remain calm and think your way through it and figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think mindset is something that time and time again we have talked about on this podcast. I mean, we have had everybody from trail riders to hard enduro pros talk about that. And it is just really crazy that, like, literally the way that you think about something on the trail can totally change your trail ride or your race. And you can go from failing essentially, or what you might consider failure, to doing well, or just even having a good day, even though you're not doing as fantastic as maybe you want to. Maybe you're not keeping up with your friends, but you still are having a good day because you're out on the bike. And I think that that's more important than anything else.
Yeah, and you got to remember too. I mean, you could be at work that day, so I mean, even if
Exactly.
you're
Nobody
gonna
likes
have
that.
yeah, you're gonna have off days, but you're still gaining experience. You're still, putting things into your brain. You're still taking things in. I guarantee you're still learning things on that
Yeah,
ride that you're not performing at your absolute best. So it's not something to get
exactly.
frustrated about.
Exactly. I got stuck in a canyon a couple weeks ago and I got separated from my group, and I was a little bit frustrated with myself for not being able to keep up. But then I was like, you know what? This is a really good learning experience. Like, I also ride by myself a lot for this reason, like just in case I'm ever stuck somewhere alone. And hey, look, all the things that I've taught myself in those times were exactly what I needed at this time. So I'm used to the boys being there. I'm used to them helping me when I get to certain sections. And this time I had to muscle through it just like I would in the race. So I muscled through it and I got myself out of the situation, and I suffered for about another hour. And then I was like, okay, I think I'm going to head back because I have no idea where everyone's at. Like, I don't know what happens if I keep going, if it like drops off. And like, I was like, I'm just going to be safe right now. But I still learned a lot on that ride. So I was very, very happy.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then, I got talked into signing up for King of the Motos after that, because at least if I do King of the Motos, there's going to be a sweep. So I won't get lost.
No, you're gonna do good and you're gonna learn a lot. Was
Oh,
that
definitely.
is that gonna be your first West Hard Enduro that
Mhm.
you okay, sweet.
Yep. I've only done East Coast so far. So,
Nice.
yeah, I'm very scared. Last
Yeah,
year, I did media at this one, and I remember telling Jenny that I was never going to do this race. Like, even if I had the talent, it terrified me. Like, the spots that we were at to take pictures, like the pros and stuff. Oh my God, it was scary. And then I went and I wrote it like 2 weeks later, and I was like, that place is terrible. Oh my God, I think I broke my clutch lever. I broke my shifter off. Like, I broke like 6 plastics. I was like, "This is horrible." And Mitch had to ride my bike through 90% of, like, what we were trying to go through, because 'cause I'd never done anything like that. I had done hard enduro for the first time, like, a week before that, and it was like a little baby creek section. Like, what we went through was even more than what I did with Mitch the
okay.
first time. And so we went from that little section to, like, I think we rode in Jawbone, which was like mostly single track stuff, which was hard for me, but it wasn't hard enduro. And then like the next weekend we were at Johnson Valley. And I was like, my progression is not this fast, you guys. But so to go back from February to, what was this, November for Thanksgiving, and to actually attempt to do this thing called Idle Issues and Chocolate Thunder and some of the other canyons that I wouldn't even have dreamed about trying in February. I mean, that's pretty good progression in my opinion. Like, I always feel like I don't have progression because of the people that I ride with. They're so good. But then when I just take them out of the picture and I look at myself, like, I actually have been doing really well. And it's just, I keep comparing myself to other people. I'm still having fun. Do not get me wrong. I just hold myself to that standard that I need to ride like Cody, or I need to ride like Mitch, or, you know, all of that. Like I need to be doing that to hang with these guys, but that's not the case. Like I'm going to get there. Do not get me wrong. I will get there. But I'm not there yet, and they're okay with it. They're patient with me, and I think that's one of the best things about hard enduro is that the best community has come from this sport. Like, I think you talked about you have to be a little bit crazy to do hard enduro, right? Like, who wants to go throw their bike into the rocks and, you know, like try and fail at hill climbs and, you know, all of these hard things that we do? But like we all do it, and there's a lot of us. So we're all the same kind of crazy, I think. But that's why we get along so well.
Yeah, yeah, and I think there's probably a little bit less, like head-to-head battles because really in hard enduro you're battling the course,
Exactly.
not so much the other riders, so to speak.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, no, that's awesome that you ride with some really talented riders because that's going to really help your progression too.
Mhm.
You're seeing what to do, and as far as comparing yourself to them, it's like, yeah, I mean, the most successful, in my opinion, the most successful way to look at that is you only really have yourself to compare to. You know,
Yeah.
how were you riding? How are you riding now? I mean,
Mhm.
if you get 1% better every time you go out, it adds up over time, big time.
And I think that's been the issue is that I love my boys, do not get me wrong, but they always take me on stuff that fits my skill level. So if last month we went on this one trail, we're not going to go on that trail again because I made it through. So I don't get to see if I do it better. Now we're going on the death trail. And like, you know, it's like they step it up for me each time we go and ride. And I mean, so far I've been able to mostly make it through. But it's like, man, I told Cody this the last time we went to Jawbone. I was like, your confidence in me is both inspiring and terrifying because like the thing that you just had me go up, like I wouldn't have ever thought that I could do that. Like it was so much up, it was so rocky and just like so loose, and I made it almost to the top. I struggled a lot, do not get me wrong, but I almost made it to the top. And then I had a near miss and Cody helped me the rest of the way. But it was only like the last maybe 40 feet. So maybe less than that even. But yeah, it was like super, super high. And I like looked down at where we started and I was like, holy crap. I was like, you know, a couple months ago even, I wouldn't even have tried that. I would have just sat at the bottom and laughed and been like, "Yeah, you're joking." And I kinda did do that that day. I was like, "Are we serious, guys?" But, like, I kept going, and I was like, "Okay, well, I know them just like they know me, so I know that if they didn't stop and tell me to go a different direction, that they think I can do it." So I think a lot of the times them having a belief that I can do something makes me be able to do it. Like then I have confidence in myself. So, um, but yeah, I don't really often do the same trail over and over because they just are constantly pushing me and they are the best at it. That's probably what's given me the most progression. Um, but I occasionally I'm like, can I go back and try that again? Like, please? Like, or just, you know, because it's a little safer than what we're doing now. Like,
Yeah, probably be a good strategy for when you do go out by yourself. You know, hit some of that stuff that you hit maybe a couple rides ago with those guys, or maybe even 10 rides ago, and just see.
mhm.
Yes, this is a lot easier than it used to be. You know,
Yeah.
probably some good reinforcement, and then go
Yeah.
struggle your way through something. You got to struggle on every ride a little bit.
I did accidentally do that. I think it was shortly after TKO, I came back and I was riding by myself in Jawbone, and, I just kinda stuck to stuff that looked kind of familiar. I had no idea where I was, but I have a pretty good sense of direction, but, like, I wasn't 100% sure where we had gone because I was so scared the first time. And I made it to the top of this little section, and it wasn't even that big of a hill, but I saw where I was and I recognized where I was, and I like took a picture and I sent it to my buddy, and I was like, "Oh my god, look where I made it to." I was like, I'm so excited because when he had taken me there the last time, I remember getting to the top and I was just shaking, like absolutely terrified to be up that high. And like it was a good 2-track trail. Like it wasn't a spine, which we have done before. But like I was like, why did I get so scared? I remember being terrified of going down that hill. And I was like, I just came up that hill and it was like nothing. So I went up and down it like 4 times just to prove to myself that I could do it. Like I had so much fun that day because I was like, okay, I have grown in my riding. Like that was really cool. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
made the mistake of telling Cody that, and then the next time we went to Jawbone together was the last time that I went, and then he was, like, taking me on all this stuff that, for me, is a lot harder, but, again, thank you, Cody, because, without him and Mitch and the other guys pushing me like that, like, I wouldn't be to where I am right now, and, like, it's only been 8 months. I met those guys at the end of January at King of the Motos, so like, we
yeah,
didn't start riding until I think it was, like, the 2nd or 3rd week of February, and now it's December, so, yeah, that's crazy. Oh my
yeah.
god, that's
No,
crazy.
yeah, the progression. I think kind of what you're talking about is one of the things I wanted to touch on tonight too, is just like
Mhm.
hard enduro and what it can do for someone's mindset, like not only in
Yeah.
riding but in life. Like when you get
Yes.
into this, it can be very addictive because you start doing these things that you didn't think you could do before. Or you
Yeah.
like exactly like you explained on that on the hill. Like you don't like I don't know how I'm going to do it. And
Mhm.
but if you stick with it and you keep plugging along and you keep figuring things out, and like by the time you make it to the top of that thing, like you feel very accomplished that like right then and there. But I think even more so maybe like the next day or something like that, you look back on it and you're like, wow, like that I didn't think I could do that. And I pulled it off. Like
Mhm.
and not
Yeah.
like, oh, that's gonna be a little bit tough. Like I like had no thought in my mind I could make it up there. And
Yeah.
when you keep doing that, I think it even gives you like, I don't know, it can just change your perspective on everything. I think it helps you in life even. Like it's kind of like, okay, no
Yeah.
big deal. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna work my way through it, and
Mhm.
I'm gonna make it happen. I think it boosts your confidence in outside of riding too.
Yeah. My buddy and I, one of the things that I think we talked about one time was that instead of calling it a failure, I reframed it as attempts. So instead of saying I failed at this so many times, like I attempted it so many times. And that just thinking about it, I mean, the power of the mind is absolutely insane. Like your brain can change so much about you. And like I could go into like the neuroscience and like all of the like physics and all of that stuff, but I'll try not to. Um I could literally go on for hours about it, but the basis is that like your mind will find the pattern that you want it to find. So if you are constantly thinking negatively, I'm not going to make this, I'm really bad at this, I can't do this, that is what you're training your brain to find. So your brain is always just going to look through that lens. And it's like it is like a lens of like everybody uses filters nowadays, right? Like on social media. So we'll call it that. Like that's your filter. Your filter is this blue, dark thing that you are seeing the world through. But you start to reframe everything and you start to change everything. And all of a sudden you're like, I can do this. Even if you're not 100% sure you can, telling yourself that you can is huge. And I started saying, instead of everybody always says, well, what's the worst that could happen? I say, what's the best that could happen? Because then when I'm on the trail looking at the scary thing, I go, what's the best that could happen? I see myself getting over it or going through it or, whatever. And maybe it doesn't work out that way, but 9 times out of 10, it does. And I get really lucky, I guess. But, it does. It changes that way that you see things. And so now you've got this other filter, and it's this bright, glowy filter, and that's the way you see the world now. And it's like you said, it's not just riding, that is applicable to everything in life, because I was a very depressed, anxious person when I started really riding. You know, when I went to that clinic with Jarvis, I was so negative and just like, I went to tell the man that I was sorry for ruining his clinic, like, because he kept telling me to use my rear brake that I didn't know existed. So I was like, what are you talking about? Um, but that was the way that I looked at the world, was through negativity, through "You can't do this." And it took one person telling me, "You can do it," to make me think, "Oh, there's a different way to look at the world." And that's what catapulted everything for me. He was the catalyst to this life change that I had. And really just like moving forward, and I mean endurance sports in general. So I started running, I started, riding more, all of that. But like, moving forward with it, you can't do things like that. You can't do an endurance sport and be negative, because you're never going to make it. If you tell yourself, I can only run 2 miles when you're trying to run 5, your mind is going to stop you at 2 miles.
Mhm.
But if you tell yourself, I think I could do 10, and you go out to see what you can do, and you just keep staying positive, and man, I feel pretty good. Man, I'm on mile 5. I'm tired. My feet hurt, but man, I can't believe I've made it this far, instead of, oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm so dead right now. Like, I can't believe I'm doing this. Like, I can't wait to go eat a burger. Like, yeah, that's going to be two totally different outcomes in my opinion. Um, and I know, because I've been both. So, like, it makes a big, big difference. So mindset is huge in hard enduro.
Absolutely. That's everything. And that's a really cool story, Angel, that I'm sure, like, hopefully a lot of people can. And that's kind of what we're trying to do here with Meadow
Mhm.
Valley Hard Enduro, is to expose more people to this. I think a lot of people, like, I've seen some videos, but what is it? What is
Yeah.
hard enduro? I mean, I think the answer is it's kind of a relative term for everybody. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's one of the biggest, catalysts or drivers behind this, is I wanna share this
Yeah.
experience with more people, because it could be really
And I
profound.
Yeah, and I think it's really, really cool that you've put the time and energy into doing this in Minnesota. Like we said, that's not the first place people think about when they think of hard enduro. They're like, "Wait, what? Like, did you have to like ship in a bunch of rocks and stuff?" But like, what people don't know is that Minnesota, as you get closer to the Mississippi, has a lot of bluffs, and like, they're not really mountains, I guess. They're kind of like I'm trying to think of like a appropriate term, because bluff is a very like Midwest thing. I didn't know what a bluff was when I moved there. Um, I didn't know what a coulee was when I moved to North Dakota. People were like, "Oh, you live by the coulee," and I was like, "The what?" I have no idea what you're talking about. Um, but yeah, like I guess they're like rocky hills, kind of like outcroppings, and so like it's basically like, yeah, like a cliff, I guess, right?
That
That would
the
be
the
the best
part of
way.
Yeah, the part of the state is, honestly, it's just as flat as the rest of Minnesota, but this part of the state hasn't had the
But the
glaciers fill
river.
everything. Yeah, so basically you got like tens of thousands of years of water flow and erosion that makes
Mhm,
these, so you have flat areas on top, but then you'll have these pretty steep, like rocky ravines and stuff like that, that
mhm,
could be as much as a few 100 feet deep by the time you get down to the bottom of them.
mhm.
So that's essentially like the terrain that we're working with there. So
Yeah.
yeah, significantly more feature rich than the majority of Minnesota. Yeah, for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, and it's always by the river, because the other place in Minnesota that has anything close to hard enduro is up north in
Yeah,
the Duluth area at, what is it, Alger Grade,
yeah,
right?
Alger, and then
Alger
London. Yep,
and
it's
London, yeah.
it's in the Two Harbors area, and
So
yeah, I was
by
definitely going to give
Duluth.
Yeah, up the North Shore from Duluth a little ways,
Yep.
not too far.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, yeah, that's pretty rocky area, but again, by water. So, water shapes all the really cool stuff in Minnesota.
Yeah. Yeah, I was definitely going to give them a shout out too on this one. I mean,
Mhm.
the landscape for technical or harder riding has really shaped up in the last few years here. They've got, I think, between the two locations, they've got close to 50 miles of trails, and a lot of it's
Awesome.
more like what would probably be considered like technical single track, but
Mhm.
they do have one trail at Alger, and they'll have like short offshoots with pretty tough obstacles that are optional.
Mhm.
So you can go
Yeah.
around them if you want, or you can hit them. But they got one trail at Alger that's definitely getting into the hard enduro esque um, side of things, especially from an amateur level. Probably definitely there.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
London's got another one like that, and then they've got one that's called Valhalla Bound that is legit, like probably like right up in like the pro level type of.
Okay.
It wouldn't be like the hardest thing on a pro level course typically, but
Mhm.
it's legit hard enduro, and it's a state
Okay.
trail, which is really
All
cool
right.
for Minnesota or the Midwest.
Yeah. That's really cool. And um it's kind of funny because it's really not that far geographically from Michigan where they did the Mad Moose.
It does more than a little bit. It reminds me of the Mad Moose terrain. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
but it's not quite as gnarly. I think Michigan definitely has a little bit more, at least in that area.
I mean, it's really, I mean, that especially the London area, there's some pretty there's some pretty rough stuff there, especially you could there's more tough stuff that could be put in there for sure. There's
Yeah.
one it's kind of like one ravine I can think of with a lot of car-sized boulders in it, for example, that I mean you could definitely put more stuff in down there. And so no, I think you could make things just as hard as the Sandstormers property up there. I think there's a lot of similarities between it, really.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, it makes sense. It's all around the lake, so that's really cool.
yeah.
Um, okay, well, I want to go back to what you said earlier. You talked about training. You talked about how you started training and how you got into hard enduro, or you said racing, I think. So what kind of training did you do versus what you do now, and what kind of racing did you start out with,
I
or
started
where?
out, yeah, for racing. I started out probably like around 2018. I think I did a District 23 enduro in Akeley,
Mhm. Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, I probably did maybe a handful of them in
Mhm.
2019, 2020, and then by
Mhm.
2021, I was doing hard enduros, um, and just kind of that started becoming the bigger and bigger share of the events that I was doing.
Okay.
For training, that was just kind of like, I guess there's the aspect of maybe just like working on bike skills and stuff like that, balance, working on obstacles, technique, stuff like that. But then the training was just kind of like, I don't know, finding places and riding them basically. And it just kind of kept getting
Yeah.
harder and harder. And then as the skills progress, you're able to ride harder and harder stuff. So yeah,
Mhm.
now it's kind of divulged into almost anytime I go out for a ride. Like sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go maybe work on a little bit of speed or something like this, and I always end up down in some nasty place, and I always find myself
Yeah.
down there. So it's where I want to be. But
Yeah, yeah, you gravitate towards what you like. So, I mean, that's just what happens. I've done the same thing. I got told that I should work on my speed because I went from a snail to a turtle. So I'm doing better, but I am still very slow. So I need to pick it up. But I don't really understand how that's possible. But I also never thought I'd be as fast as I am now. Fast is a relative term. Um, And so I know that it's just going to come with time and being comfortable. Um, but yeah, working on speed is not my thing. I hate it. I'm just like, I just don't want to go that fast.
Yeah, and even it makes a difference in hard enduro, especially. I mean, you're always going to have some places that people kind of pile up in the course.
Hmm. Yeah.
So the earlier you can get there, the less people you have to work through. But the fact of the matter is, the technical skills and just your ability to get through tough terrain is really what's going to dictate, your results or how well you do. Because you have to
Mhm.
be able to get through those tough spots. If you're fast to get there, but you can't get through them, it
Mhm.
it's
Doesn't help
gonna,
you.
yeah, not so much. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's probably best to build the technique and then bring in the speed later would probably be my recommendation. But
Yeah. Well, as a woman, we always start in the back, so I don't really usually have to deal with bottlenecks because by the time I get there, there's nobody there. So at least in every race I've been in so far, I don't
okay.
know what bottlenecks are. So,
Yeah, they're
um,
interesting.
yeah.
But
Well, I guess I had like a tiny little baby bottleneck at TKO. There was like two guys in front of me, and
okay.
I we helped each other through the section, but um yeah, it wasn't like a whole pile up of guys. Like, oh my God, when I went to Roar last year, 409 was absolutely ridiculous. There's probably like
Yeah.
40 guys, like all stacked on top of each other, essentially, and then a bike goes flying in the air. It's like, okay, that was
Yeah,
crazy.
there. I've been in some pretty big ones at Shotgun too, especially when you start doing like staircase,
Yes.
or
Yep.
stairway.
Stairway,
But
yeah.
yeah, no, it's pretty wild, and again, just goes to show, just staying calm. And it
Mhm.
bottlenecks can be really interesting too. Like, I hate to say it, but more so than even like the start of the race. When I come up on a bottleneck, I get excited.
Mhm.
Like, it's like blood in the water for me. Like, I'm like, okay, this is where I can actually start passing people. I'm looking for, lines that I can maybe, think that I can pull off, and, looking for,
Mhm.
and that's the cool thing with hard enduro. You get to think way
Yeah.
outside the box as to like, hey, if it's within the tapes, it's fair game. So, I mean, even
Mhm.
if you go here and maybe you try to take a run up the hill back this way, to then maybe you can tic tac your way, past like the main route that everybody's stuck on or something. Like, that could be
Yeah.
a really cool experience. I've definitely had a couple experiences where maybe on a big rocky hillside or something like that, you might you can literally, in a hard enduro area that's backed up, if things go right for you and you play your cards right, you can sometimes get by 20 plus people in one spot.
Wow. That
It's
would be
pretty
a
cool.
dream.
You can have the opposite. You can have the opposite happen and do something really dumb and have 20 people get by you too by the time you're back to where you were. But
Yeah. Well, I was very happy in the sprint enduro that I did that I passed like 5 guys, and then I got passed by them a little bit later, and I was like, "Oh, sadness." But they stopped after that section, so, like, that test was done. I went on and they did not. So, they
okay.
decided to call it quits after that. So, really, I beat them. I have no idea who they are, but they were just the first people that I've ever passed on a race course. So
Just
I
five
was
more
pretty happy.
dudes. Just five more
Yeah.
dudes that got beat by Angel.
That's like the first 5 dudes that ever got beat by me. But yeah,
Yeah.
they can put that in the history books.
Hard enduro's never over too. You talk to a lot of people out there, and you might pass a group of people, and then they pass you back later on. And
Yeah.
I've had those swaps happen half a dozen times in a race before. Yeah, it's never over. I mean, even if they get like out of sight and you're like, oh, they're gone, I'm never going to see them again. You probably will. As long as you keep your head down and keep pushing and keep going, like, it's never over.
I think once you hit a certain level, the consistency is key. And it's
Absolutely.
that is more important than necessarily speed, but that is way down the line for me. I need to just get to being consistently not in the back. So, and then I'll work on consistency, period, and then we're good.
Got it all figured out.
It's my long-term plan. I'm working on it. Um, so, what races were you able to go to for hard enduro?
Let's see. In Iowa.
You mentioned shotgun, so
Yep. I've done the roar. I've done the roar
okay.
shotgun, Memorial Day Keystone Challenge thing a couple
Yeah.
times. Let's see. I've been to some of the Ohio rounds, which that's awesome that there's an Ohio State Championship now. That is really, really cool.
Yes.
Arkansas, Mad Moose. Let's see, Eastern rounds. I feel like I'm forgetting something. And I've done Donner.
TKO,
I haven't done
Battle of
TKO.
the Goats.
And I haven't done Battle of the Goats. I was gonna go this last year. Some things hit the fan right beforehand, and I wasn't able to make it. But I've done the
Kairos,
and that's
the River
still on my
Monster.
list. That's still on my list too. Yeah.
That
But
one
overall,
looks gnarly.
yeah, big hills. So
Mm-hmm.
I've done a good majority of the East Coast ones though, and not much in the West. I've done Donner once,
Mm-hmm.
and I helped out with Silver Kings this past year.
That's
So
awesome. Yeah, Donner was really cool. I went this year, and I did media there, but it was literally cool because it snowed
yeah,
in June. I was like, what is happening right now? It's like thunder and lightning, and I'm on a giant rock next to the lake, next to a tree. I was like, everything that you're not supposed to do, and I'm doing it right now. This is real great. Um,
yeah,
yeah,
it's an
but Donner
awesome
was
location.
amazing to watch. I was so sad. I don't remember what happened to my bike. My bike was down at that time. I remember that because I didn't have it. But I was really sad because if I had had it working, I would have totally done that race. But I would have loved that one.
Yeah,
But it also kind of scared me. I hadn't done slabs at that point, so
yeah,
I was like, it's scary. But I would much rather do Donner over like Grinding Stone. Grinding Stone terrifies me.
yeah.
No, I won't do it.
Yeah. Donner's a super cool location. Beautiful up there.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and they do a great job, like kind of hitting all the skill sets, I think, on that course.
Yeah.
They do a really good job of mixing it up. And yeah, I
Mhm.
was really happy. I'm really happy with that one. And even the hair scramble is fun there.
Yeah.
Like that hair scramble is way, way more technical than most.
Yeah. I've heard that. I mean, Conaboy broke his hand there this year. So,
Both of them,
and
wasn't it?
yeah, you're right. Yep. Both. Well, I was thinking because I was trying to think. I was like, he broke his thumb last year at Donner during the hard enduro, so he couldn't race TKO. And then this year, he made it through the hard enduro, and then he went and decided that doing the hair scramble was a good idea, and then he broke both hands. I think it was both wrists, and then he couldn't do TKO for the second year in a row.
Yeah. But he killed it in the fall series though. So that was
Yeah, he
really
did.
impressive after that injury.
Yeah, yeah. He's such a good kid and he's such a beast. I mean, the kid, he does what is it like bull riding?
I
So
didn't know that.
he's hardcore bull rider. Oh yeah. Yeah. He's crazy. But I mean, if you see him like when he gets in some of the sections, he gets kind of squirrely. He moves around on that bike so easy and so good because he's used to riding a bull. So it's like the same thing sometimes.
Yeah.
So I think some of the best hard enduro riders in the series are also like cowboys or like bronc riders or stuff like that. And I think that's really cool that it can translate.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And yeah, the Hawaiians in general are just gnarly.
Oh yeah. I mean, look at the terrain that they get to train in. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what they grow up with. They don't know anything different. You come here and all of a sudden everything has traction. So, like they're like, I can do this.
Yeah, for sure.
So, it's super cool. But well, if you could travel anywhere in the world to go ride or race, where would you want to go?
I mean, yeah, take everything out of the picture and just, I mean, it probably would be Romaniacs. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, to me, it's just the premier event. Erzberg is probably holds a little more hype or prestige, but to me, like Romaniacs is like the essence of hard enduro. Like
Yeah.
that's what it's about. 4 days, 4 full days out in the mountains. Yeah, I think that's probably the one. One of the guys who initially started cutting, like, or doing some of the hard enduro clearing at Meadow Valley, kind of back in 2020.
Mhm.
He's originally from South Africa, and we've discussed possibly doing the roof someday, roof of Africa, which I
Ooh.
think that would be a really awesome one to do too. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, let's see. I mean, we have really quality stuff in the States now,
Mhm.
and
We
I
do.
mean, I have to return. I did a really cool enduro in Guatemala uh,
Ooh.
about a year ago, and I will definitely be returning to that one. Classic Oshella. It's it's a really awesome race. It's like 160 miles, I think, long or something like that.
Wow.
Through, yeah, everything to like paved roads to almost downright hard enduro like tests.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, like not like super hardcore hard enduro, but like getting it up there for sure. Like way more difficult than you'd find in like an enduro around here. Um, and you're
How
like
did you find that race?
a couple of my hard enduro riding buddies were originally from Guatemala. Yeah, went
Okay.
went down there with them, and yeah, it was awesome, awesome. I will be going back. I mean, you're riding on volcanoes and riding down like 2,000-year-old steps down the mountain that were made by the Mayans, and just stuff you can't do here. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. That's so cool. I know several people who've ridden in, like, Panama and, where's the other place? Oh, and, like, different parts of Brazil.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, just absolutely amazing terrain, it looks like. I wanna go so bad. Um, I'm just a little, tied up with money because I'm doing all of the things right now in life. And, I haven't won the lottery yet. Like, I don't know what's going on with that, but like, I put in my application and they haven't given it to me yet. So,
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I would go anywhere. I would ride
yeah.
anywhere. I mean, Indonesia seems like it'd be pretty awesome to go do that, and they're really fanatical there about hard enduro.
Yeah.
Um,
They're crazy in general. Yeah. I want to
yeah,
go to Iceland.
that would be cool. I feel like New Zealand would be a really cool place to
Oh,
ride.
yeah.
Um,
Yes. There's some amazing, amazing hard enduro in New Zealand and in Australia too.
yeah, yeah, they've got a cool series going in Australia now for well,
Yeah.
a decent number of years now.
Yeah, yeah, it's so cool. I got connected with a couple Australian riders last year, and just watching like their races has been so awesome. And just I didn't realize there was such a variety of terrain. I mean, that's probably me just being an American, but I really didn't realize it. And then I started seeing like these guys and girls posting all this stuff, and I'm like, wow, like I didn't realize that there's like, well, to be fair, the one guy lives on Tasmania, I
Yeah,
think it's I'm 90% sure that's where he lives, but yeah, it's, like, more jungly,
it
and
is.
it's, like, cold. It gets
Mhm.
cold there, and I was like, "It gets cold in Australia?" But then I thought about it, and geographically speaking, they're actually closer to Antarctica, so it makes sense.
Yep, yep.
So,
Southern Australia and Tasmania definitely get
yeah.
cold. Yeah, Australians
Yeah.
are pretty awesome people. I used to go down there for work quite a bit, and yeah, made quite a few
Really?
friends down there.
That's so cool. The very first podcast episode made its way to Australia. And ever since then it has grown and grown and grown. But Australia has a huge fan base there, and they are the second highest downloads. So
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
it's really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. So maybe your friends listen.
So
But yeah, it's Australia is really cool. Definitely high on my list. Definitely far away. Iceland is going to be sooner probably. And I'm sorry Ash, but I really want to get there, but until you make it closer or I find more money. Cuz I can't, like, you can't go, like, I went to Austria for Erzberg this year and I went for like 4 days. And like I went for the race and that was pretty much it. You can't go to Australia for 4 days because you're gonna spend all your time flying.
you spent,
Like,
yeah.
so I have to take, like, a couple weeks off of work and plan, like, a true, like, at least a couple weeks. It would probably honestly be more like I would have to quit my job and go over there for, like, a couple months because now I'm like, I gotta go here, and I gotta go here, and I gotta go here, and they are on very different parts of Australia. So like, it
It
would basically be like traveling the US.
it is. It's literally like the lower 48 because I used to work in
Mhm.
Western Australia all the time, and it's yeah, you land in Sydney or whatever, and it's another 4 or 5 hour plane ride to get to the West Coast from there. So, yep,
Yeah,
it's huge.
it's cool though. Like, I think it's really awesome that like hard enduro has brought people from all across the world together, and really just dirt bikes in general. I mean, you named off so many places, and we know about a lot of these places because of hard, like, dirt bikes. And like, at least the people that I know, like, I grew up super poor. I didn't really like plan to travel the world or anything. I didn't know a whole lot about the world. And then I started getting into dirt bikes and like looking at like terrain and stuff and people's pictures. And I'm like, where's that at? Where's that at? And now I'm like, oh, I really want to go. Like, I mean, it'd be really cool to like go to Italy, and like the food would be awesome. And like, the history, like I love history, but also riding.
Yeah,
like I want it
yeah,
all. I want to experience it all.
yeah. I think Italy and Spain would be really awesome to go to and ride.
Yes.
Spain's probably the most open to riding, so but that'd
Yeah.
probably be the premier place to go, just because there's more places you can ride there than most places in Europe. But
Which
um,
is really funny because, like, Sicily is an island and it has a lot of riding from what I've heard. There's, like,
yeah,
whole, like, at least 2 Sicilian, like, tour companies that I know about. And I'm like, "How did that's a small island." Like, what? But now I really wanna go go because I've seen videos and I'm like, "Okay, it's on the list." Like, the
yeah.
list includes almost everywhere, so
How could that not be awesome? Riding an island in the Mediterranean. I mean,
right?
that's
Oh
like,
my god.
bucket list for sure.
Yeah, I like that'd be so cool. Iceland has been on my list since before I even wanted a dirt bike. Like I wanted to go to Iceland because it's always been my thing to like I was really into volcanoes for a while. So like watching a volcano in the wintertime, oh my god, that'd be the coolest thing. But like be able to do it and like go on a dirt bike, like that would just I would just die happy right then and there. But, like, I think it's so cool because, like, the places that you can go on a dirt bike, not everybody can get there. Even if you're in a Jeep, you Jeepers are really great and you guys can get to a lot of areas, but you can't always get to the same places a dirt bike can get to. And a dirt bike can get you to a heck of a lot of amazing places. And yes, you can hike there, but that's a heck of a lot more energy. So, like, you save energy, you can go a lot further usually on a bike. So, I see no downside other than you need gas.
Yeah. And now let's be clear. I've ridden a lot of places that would be easier to walk, but
I don't
but
know. Like I have well, to be fair, I'm usually hiking in moto boots to like take pictures of these places because like I ride out and then I like hike in. But so maybe it's just the boots, but sometimes these places are really hard to just walk in.
yeah,
So sometimes it's almost easier to be on the bike and be able to like maneuver that rather than just like slipping and falling on your butt all the way down the side of the mountain. I've never done that. What are you talking about?
Right.
Anyways,
Oddly specific.
yeah, I know. Just a good example. Um, anyways, so going back to the Minnesota Meadow Valley Hard Enduro. I keep calling it the Minnesota Hard Enduro, which it is, but more specifically, it's the Meadow Valley Hard Enduro. Um, this is this is really exciting. When I lived in Minnesota, there was nothing like this. There wasn't an area to go train. And you've really opened it up. You've made it very accessible. People from other states are already coming. I have heard tell that there has been a pro or so out there recently, and who really enjoyed their time out there. It sounded like.
Yeah.
Um, so that's cool. I know there's at least one US hard enduro A rider out there that had a really good time from what I hear. So it's really cool to hear that these people who know hard enduro really well are going out and having fun. And I know that the crew out in North Dakota was super excited about it. And they're just like super stoked to get out there next year and try it. And they're hard enduro people. So it's cool. People are excited to have somewhere to go, like with trails that are meant for them and that they can push on without maybe, there's the Black Hills in South Dakota, which is amazing, but it's also takes a heck of a lot to get out there. And so this is very accessible. So you don't always have time to go out to the Black Hills and go train out there like every weekend. You could go out to Meadow Valley every weekend in the spring and train. Like that's good training. So
It
that's
is.
really
It is.
exciting.
It's yeah, it's a place in the Midwest which they're hard to come by. Um,
Mhm.
the location is really good. I think it also offers kind of a really cool aspect for say like a family of riders that maybe
Mhm.
ride different disciplines
Yeah.
because you could have a kid. So they're and that's the thing too. They have a youth. They've got a youth or a small bike track there,
Mhm.
moto track, and then they've got a really nice. I've had many people tell me it's their favorite moto track in the state. For the big bikes there. You got a good amount of 2-track riding all around the property.
Mhm.
That's on. It's a nice piece of property. It's pretty. You got single track there. For your single
Yeah.
track riders, and then even moving up to hard enduro. And I mean, if you want, you bring your trials bike out there and ride in the hard enduro sections and stuff too. So I think they've got you know uh, a really wide group of riding
Yeah.
available there for possibly, like I said, big rider groups or families that and it's a nice place to hang out after riding and overnight too. It's a really nice flat grassy meadow. They got bathrooms and stuff out there and really nice shade
Mhm.
trees and stuff. So it's a pretty cool location.
Yeah, and it's also really pretty to look at. Like just from the parking lot, like where we parked, like it was really pretty to just sit there and watch. So like you said, talking about a family, maybe not everybody rides, but it is pretty peaceful there. I mean, if you're all right with listening to the bikes all the time on the moto
Right.
track, but who's not in a moto family? So yeah, I think it's really, really cool. The property is just kind of gold. And like you said, it's pretty close to Spring Creek, which a lot of people know about. We've had Alex Martin on here and he's talked about that. Um, it's really cool that Minnesota has multiple really nice motocross tracks. And I know a lot of my friends go to Meadow Valley. They go to Spring Creek too, but not as often. They go to Meadow more often. So when this opportunity came up, I was all excited because I was like, I actually know Meadow. I had never been there, but I knew about it and I had heard a lot of things about it. And so I was super excited and it definitely exceeded my expectations. It was a lot of fun. And other than being on a bike that didn't cooperate with me for a while there, I was like struggling. I was like, I can't pull my clutch in like at all. But yeah, that adjustment was great. And Yeah, it was a lot better, but it definitely did kind of like throw my confidence a little bit because being on a different bike is always going to be a little bit wonky. And when you're a small rider, every time you jump on somebody else's big bike, everything just feels like super weird. Like one of the things that I realized when I came back to my bike is my bike, my bars are really flat. I have aftermarket bars, and my buddy was just saying that the other. He's like, they look almost flat, like why do you have them like that? Because most bars have like that taper. And I was like, well, because I can't do this all the time. Like I was literally like felt like I was riding with my hands like at my ears all the time.
Hmm.
And so that wasn't ideal. And so when I changed over to these bars, it made life so much easier for me. I could get in proper position better. And then moving my levers also helped. And yeah, there's just a lot of things that like I realized that my setup is really important. Um, but I also realized that the reason I got a big bike was because I wanted to be able to get on any bike and be able to ride it. I don't have to ride it well, but I have to be able to ride it because if I'm going to be renting bikes overseas, they're all going to be set up different. So that was a big thing for me was that was like, okay, if I'm going to do Romaniacs, I need to really think about what are the things that I need to change or bring with me to make it comfortable enough for me to ride.
Yeah.
So that was really great practice.
Yeah, and that you bring up a really good point. That's one bad thing. If you start to get super custom with your setup, it
Yeah.
does limit you for traveling and riding places.
Mhm.
Unless if you want to bring a boatload of stuff with you. Um,
Just bring my whole bike. It's fine. TSA
right.
won't mind.
Yeah. Well, you're still to this day, you're still the only rider I've ever taken around Meadow Valley that preferred hitting the creek beds like right away or first over doing single track. Usually I take people on single track to kind of warm them up first before we do any of the creek beds or kind of say what rockier stuff. But no, it was totally the opposite with you. I should have started you in the creek beds and then worked our way up to the single track.
Yep. Yep. That's usually how it goes. That's really funny because my buddy Chris, when I went out to ride with him for the first time, he kind of said the same thing. Cause he was like, well, next time we'll have to go into the canyon. And I was like, why didn't we do that? I was like, instead he took me on these like loose, rocky, like single track up and down hills that were like super steep. And I was like, what are you doing to me? Like, it was rough. But I fell I fell off of, like, a good little, like, 6-foot drop that day. I fell into a cactus. Like, I literally am scarred on my arm from it, so thanks, Chris. It was a very memorable day. Um, I have a lot of Chris's in my life, I'm realizing. I ride with a lot of Chris's.
There's
Um
Well, yeah, the guy who had the extra bike that day that you were there, that was
Mhm.
Chris.
Yep.
The guy who started kind of making some of the stuff back in 2020. His name is Chris. I've been on rides there where half of the dude's name is Chris. I don't know what it is.
We gotta change y'all's names. Like, you guys are gonna get name tags, you're gonna get assigned a new name. Like, this is what you're going by now.
Right.
Um,
So the whole group
yeah.
doesn't turn around.
Oh, that's funny. I don't think I've had that problem before. Well, we have 2 Codys now. Like, we have 2 Codys. They're spelled different, but you can't say it different. So, there's Codey and Cody. So, it is like when we're talking about them in the group, we're like old Cody and new Cody.
That works.
I mean, this is how you do it. You gotta figure it out. But when you have like 6 of the same name, you can't just do, oh, oldest Cody or oldest Chris and newest Chris and newish Chris and kind of semi-old Chris and
Too
it
many
doesn't work.
Chris's.
So it's just, and then you start using last initials. That doesn't work either. That's why the military just does all last names. You just go by your
Yeah.
last name unless your name is Smith, and then you're screwed. Then you're just like, if your name is Chris Smith, no, you're done. You're not
Yeah.
allowed to ride with us.
Uh,
Oh
but
my gosh.
yeah, it's cool that yeah, we got a positive review from you and really I mean, the majority
Yeah.
of people we've taken out, gotten some really positive feedback from, and whether they're beginners to it, and there's that too. I do try to lead some group rides on the
Hmm.
property that are very much tailored towards people who are just getting into hard enduro.
Yeah.
Typically, now this would be not ideal for Angel's case, but typically those rides would be, because most people in this area, they probably ride single track, would
Hmm.
typically be the entry into this
Yeah.
type of stuff. So yeah, our rides would be mostly just single track to start with. We'd hit
Hmm.
probably the 3 or 4 easiest hard enduro sections on the property
Hmm.
and just kind of make a loop of the property, get
Yeah.
back to the parking area, let people have lunch or something if they want to. And then, anybody who wants to continue on to increasing the difficulty from there, we do that in the afternoon. So it's not,
Yeah.
so we definitely try to tailor to people who are new to the sport. We're trying to grow the sport. So yeah, don't be afraid of a group ride. They're very
Hmm.
much meant for people that are new to the sport. And, yeah, I'd say please come out and try it. Like, you
Yeah.
never know unless if you try.
Exactly, and that goes back to that mindset, like, having that positive mindset, like, go out, have fun. I mean, you guys have done an amazing job with those trails out there. They're really well marked, and they're super fun when you have a bike that you're not fighting. But they were still really fun. Like, I just like you said, I preferred the creaky areas, like, to the single track, but that's just my preference in general. But yeah, it was awesome, and then some of those pro sections are so cool. Oh my god. I was telling all my friends in California, I was like, you guys need to take a trip to Minnesota." And they're like, "That's kind of a haul." I'm like, "Did you see the videos? Like, come on." And then they watched it and they're like, "Oh, okay, that looks really fun." So, I
Yeah,
told them we're gonna take a road trip.
yeah, it's probably be a little surprising to some people
Mhm.
how cool some of the places are there to ride on.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and then, like, there's some, like, spots that I was, like, eyeing, and I was like, "I can't do it, but that would be really cool." Like, it was awesome. So, definitely awesome job with all of that, and I'm really excited to, continue to share more with the community as things progress with the race. I mean, you guys have the trails pretty well established now, but, with the race in fall of 2026, there's gonna be more information to come about that, and we'll touch base, I'm sure, again, about that stuff as we kinda finalize all of that and move it forward, but yeah, I'm super stoked. This was awesome, and it was so much fun to ride. It was a blast. It was scary because I forgot what it's like to ride in leaves, but it was fun.
Yeah, it was pretty late season when you came. We actually really lucked
Mhm.
out that weekend for weather.
Yeah, it was perfect. Oh my god, it was
Uh-huh.
awesome. So, yeah. Well, in our last few minutes here, this is your time for any thank yous or shout outs.
Yeah, I would like to thank you, first of all, for having me on the podcast, for
Of
coming on
course.
board and doing so much with our social media.
Yeah.
You're a huge asset to to this property and the event, with your connections and everything we're going to be working on together going forward. So thank you,
Yeah.
Angel, for everything you've done so
Thank you.
far and everything that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Uh, I'd really like to thank, just the Meadow Valley property and Roger, the owner operator
Yes.
of the property, for not only let's say not only like accepting or letting us do this, but being enthusiastic about it and actually wanting it to happen. I mean, that's huge. Around,
Yeah.
we don't have much public land around here, which it's almost made it even better, right? Because this is private and you have an enthusiastic property owner,
Yeah.
and you don't have to maybe seek as much approval for things, and
Mhm.
it's just easier and quicker to get things done.
Yeah.
uh, so that's been huge. And then probably wanted to just give a shout out too for the people that have helped me with the trails and stuff so far. I mean, Wesley, Keith, Laser, Tyler, those guys, they all live about 2 hours away, but they've still, made it down to put in some big work days
Wow.
and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's really awesome to have their support too.
That's great. Wesley's fantastic. He reached out to me shortly after we started talking, and he's like, "Hey," he's like, would you be interested in like talking to this guy?" And I was like, "Oh, we actually just connected." It was like at the day or two before.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so it was super, super cool. He's so on board and just so supportive, and so that was really awesome. And I'd seen him before at races and stuff, and I mean like everybody knows him, so it was kind of cool. It's like Minnesota is where I was when I first started riding, and like that was where like, I mean, I lived there for a while, and then it's like I went East Coast, and so it feels like all my worlds are starting to meld together. Like my past is coming to like my now. And Tobin Miller's actually going to be out in Johnson Valley this weekend, and so I get to see him. I
Oh,
haven't seen
awesome.
him since I think TKO was the last time I saw him. So yeah, I was like, oh man, I was like, this is so cool. Cause now like I got him like hooked up with all of my West Coast friends. And I was like, all my friends are like A riders and above. And so I was like, I was messaging all of them. I was like, hey, you should go ride with this guy, like he's around. And so they are all making plans without me, but that's okay. Like I want them to do that. I want Tobin to go and see California the way that he should be able to see it at his level. So I told Tobin, I was like, save a ride for me at some point, like let come out and watch me struggle and giggle. But yeah, that's kind of how it always is. Like the boys go out and do their thing, and then once in a while I show up, and that's how it is. So um but again, it's
Yeah.
my worlds all coming together because then Tobin's also from the Midwest, and so he knows that too. So it's just it's really, really cool. I'm super excited to like see hard enduro just become one world instead of like just West Coast, just East Coast. Like it's all gonna come together. It's gonna happen. I'm planning it. I'm manifesting it.
That's how it's got to happen. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Wesley's an awesome guy. He actually is the reason kind of got a hard enduro group in the area going. It's just because
Yeah.
he's just good at connecting people. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, the Millers are yeah, both those Tobin and Tucker, amazing riders, and this
Mhm.
I love the personality. Like I met Tobin. Well, I met him on course, right? And I
Yeah.
put this must have been like fall of 2023 at the Fallen Timbers. I think it was called the Wild Hively Hard Enduro that time,
Mhm.
but he was on like a 2000 or 2001. He talked about that bike on the
Mhm.
podcast with you, that Honda
Yeah.
CR 250. Man, he
Yep.
came up. So I was coming into a Pro A split, and there were some people stuck there. I was like, I'm looking at how I'm going to get around it. This guy pulls up alongside me. He's on his
Mhm.
second lap. I'm still on my first lap. He's on his second. Man, this thing just reeked, like the smoke coming out of it would just like choke you out. Like his rear fender's just barely hanging on anymore. Bike's you know, just tethered. And he's like, what an effing mess, and he's out of there. He's out of there and gone in no time. I think that was the race before he started riding Matt's bikes, actually.
Yeah.
But that was just like, yeah,
That's so funny.
perfect introduction to Tobin. Yeah.
It's typically Tobin. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. Well, did you get through your whole shout out lists or
Yeah, that's
I
it
just want
for
to make
now.
sure.
And then,
Okay.
any of our future sponsors, of course.
Mhm.
we can
Awesome.
we can reinsert names later.
We'll add later to be determined. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for meeting with me for kind of clearing up kind of how this all started and getting it out there. And again, for all of your hard work because you've put a lot into this already and I'm really excited to see where this goes and to be part of it.
Yeah, same here. Same here. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we will talk to you again soon.
All right. Thanks. Talk to you later.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.